Welcome to our webinar, RRO Holds. What are they and how can we remove them? We are excited to have all of you joining us today. My name is Christine Self with Parent and Family Relations, and joining me today are Zach Manning from Orientation Services, Crystal Regalado from the Office of the Registrar, Pat McConnell from the Academic Testing Center, Ashley Ross from TSI Advising, Amanda Garcia from Student Health Services, and Natalie Mendoza from University Student Housing. This webinar is part of our Parent and Family Webinar Series, where we share information on topics of interest to Red Raider families. We hope this webinar will help you support your new Red Raider as they prepare for orientation this summer and take all the steps they need to ensure a smooth advising and class registration process. We plan to keep the webinar to about 30 minutes or so. If there's time at the end, we'll open it up for questions using the Zoom Q&A feature. We are recording this session and posting it to our website so that you'll be able to review it again later or share with others, including your student. I will also email the recording link to the email that you use to register for the webinar. During this webinar, you'll see a number of QR codes and links. I'll make sure to include all of those in the follow-up email as well. So let's go ahead and get started with Zach Manning, who will talk a little bit about Red Raider orientation and what orientation holds are.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We are excited to have you. I know there's a few different groups here today. So some of you have students who have been admitted and have registered for orientation, and some of you might have students who have applied or been admitted but have not yet registered for orientation. And I definitely want to tell you, regardless of where you are, we're excited you're here. We're going to have some pertinent information for you. For those of you that your student has not yet registered for orientation, they have homework today. When they get home, have them go in and reserve a spot for Red Raider orientation, because that's exactly where your student is going to be meeting with their academic advisor and registering for classes. So it's important that they have that date. I know some of y'all are thinking, well, we're still looking at other schools. We're still not sure if we're coming to Texas Tech. I want to go ahead and tell you, go ahead and have your student reserve their spots. The student fee for orientation is automatically added to the incoming semester's tuition and fees, so your student doesn't have to pay anything up front. So have your student reserve their spot. We can always add guests at a later date. And if they ultimately decide to attend another institution, we'll simply withdraw their application with no penalty. So make sure that they are reserving their spot for orientation as soon as possible. And if they're not yet admitted, once they are admitted, please reserve that spot so that we can make sure they're ready to go for the summer. So like I mentioned, orientation is where your student is going to be registering for classes, but there are some holds that could impact their ability to do so. And so that's what we want to talk about today, and how to take care of those. So some of those are, there's mandated information required by the state of Texas and other entities that we want to cover. And one of those is the TSI, or the Texas Success Initiative. And so we want to check compliance, and you're going to hear more from Crystal about that here momentarily, but that's something we need to do as soon as possible. Also, immunizations. Again, Amanda Garcia with our Student Health Services is going to be talking about that, but we want to make sure those get submitted through MedProctor. And then our Red Raider orientation modules. Now, those won't be available until May 1st, and your student will be receiving an email then telling them to go complete those modules. Those take about 60 to 90 minutes to complete. So as you can see, with all those 3 steps there, those can be completed well in advance of Red Raider orientation so that they don't have to wait in a line to turn in something they could have done today, right? So we want to take care of those as soon as possible, so there's no extra lines, no extra holdups when they get to Red Raider orientation to take care of. And then with Texas Tech policy, we have housing. So Natalie Mendoza is going to talk about that. Again, if you haven't had your students sign up for housing yet, we definitely recommend you do that as soon as possible. And Natalie will be able to talk more about that. One piece with TSI is that the Texas Success Initiative is separate from the admissions process. So some of your students might have been admitted in a test optional manner, right? So they didn't have to submit SAT or ACT scores in order to be admitted to Texas Tech University. That is totally separate from TSI compliance. So Crystal and her team, they're the ones, that's the first step, to make sure your student is compliant. If we don't have those test scores in, we can't confirm their compliance. So Crystal's going to talk about how we need to get those test scores in to confirm that compliance. After that, Pat and her team can take care of testing if that is necessary, right? Academic testing services, they can help you out with that, whether you want to test on campus or at home. We definitely recommend that you do this prior to Red Raider orientation. If you don't, the first thing we're going to tell you to do is to go take a test when you get to Red Raider orientation. So the sooner you can take care of that testing, the better off you'll be. And then academic advising for TSI. And that's what Ashley and her team will talk about. But those are basically the 3 steps for TSI compliance. And to go into further detail about that, I'm going to hand the mic off to Crystal Regalato.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited to have your Red Raiders here soon. So as Zach mentioned, TSI compliance, it is a state mandate. So what that means is in order for students to register at any Texas public university or community college, they must prove to the state that they're academically prepared for their college level reading, writing, and math courses. This is a state requirement, so that means that your student will not be able to register for any classes until they have taken care of their TSI compliance. Like Zach mentioned, students that were accepted through our test optional admissions policy, they still need to go ahead and send in those ACT and SAT test scores, because that could eliminate some of the additional testing that might be necessary in order for them to take care of TSI and get registered. So your student might already be TSI compliant. We want to see those test scores. We also want to see any official transcripts from dual credit colleges or transfer students from your transfer colleges. So please either log on to your College Board accounts or your ACT accounts or your college accounts and get those official documents sent in. One more time, that's ACT test scores, SAT test scores, and official college transcripts. If your student does need to take the TSI assessment test, we strongly encourage them to do that prior to Red Raider orientation. It's a fairly easy process for them to get those scores sent in to us or for them to set up testing with Pat McConnell and her group. The next slide is going to show you guys some of the different exemptions that we're looking for back to those ACT, SAT, and college level courses. So definitely make sure to get your documentation sent into us. A couple of things to take away is get your test scores sent in, whether you were admitted as test optional or not. We want to see those test scores. They could make your student TSI compliant and eliminate some additional TSI testing. Get those college transcripts sent in. We want to see those and get them evaluated as soon as possible. And just remember that TSI does have to be taken care of prior to any course registration. So we definitely encourage you guys to check out our websites and give us a call, send us an email, reach out to us so we can let you know for sure what students are needing, if any testing at all. I'm gonna let you guys hear from Pat McConnell now. She's gonna give you some information on taking the TSI assessment test if it is in fact needed.
Hi, we're so glad you're here today. On this screen, there's a QR code that will take you directly to our testing page that will talk to you about the many different ways that we can assist you with taking your TSI exam should you need to take it. One thing that students occasionally become confused about is they hear about math placement or another placement exam and they think they are compliant. TSI assessment is the only exam that is approved to meet compliance if you have not become exempt through another exam like the SAT, ACT, or the STAR exams, or your dual credit. So please note that this is a standardized exam. Therefore, whether you take it on campus or you take it at home through a third-party vendor called Examity, it's going to be handled just like any other standardized exam. So you will need to have a driver's license, passport. Those types of things will be required. And that's how you'll know also that you are talking about the correct exam and not something else that you've heard about. It's already been said several times. We really need you to take this prior to the first day of RRO because there can be major delays in your advising and your class registration. And TSI compliance office will let you know whatever sections your student is not compliant with. Okay, so if you would like to take the test here in Lubbock campus, this is the information on this slide on how you can go about doing that. Go ahead and contact our office at that website, and you can use your QR code or this link. The first thing you need to take care of is your pre-assessment activity, because we can't do anything until that is completed. And once you have completed that, please make sure that it gets forwarded to our testing office so that we can go ahead then and proceed with all the other information to get you scheduled. There is a fee on this, and we cannot take cash. Any payments will be done through a payment link, which we will send to the student once that pre-assessment is completed and we have received it. And again, remember about all the appropriate photo ID that you'll need to have when you arrive at the testing center, because we cannot test you unless you have those items. There are two different ways you can take the TSI off campus at a location that may be closer to where you are, and that makes it more convenient for you. We set those up using vouchers that we prepare here. You can take it as a remote session at home through a company called Examity, or as a remote session at another university or college selected by academic testing. And the reason we help you select the university or college is because we have ones that we work with on a regular basis, and they know how to use the voucher and how to help our students get the same information that they might not get at another location. So please be sure that our office is notified. When we go through the voucher, we will automatically be notified that you've completed your testing, and then our staff can report those scores to Crystal right away. For either option, you just go to the academic testing website and fill out your off-campus voucher request. And once we get that pre-assessment activity, then our office will start the process and we'll get you into that and get you testing in person or at home, wherever your location is. Do be aware that if you choose to test at another site and you have not used the voucher, then it is going to be the student's responsibility to get the scores to the TSI compliance office by sending a PDF file to registrar.tsi@ttu.edu. We are happy to help you with that because there is a database, but we do have to go through some steps to get that done because it's not an automatic process. So you're welcome to contact us anytime with any questions. That's why we're here, and we want you to contact us. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ashley Ross for TSI Advising.
Hello, I'm here to talk about the last type of TSI hold that a student might have at orientation, and that is going to be a hold for TSI Advising. So if a student takes the TSI assessment and based on those scores, they still don't meet the standards for TSI compliance, they will be required to meet with the TSI advisor to talk about enrolling in developmental coursework. The goal of this coursework is just to help students strengthen their reading, writing, and math skills. It's not meant to be a punishment or anything like that. We just want to help them be successful to make sure they can meet those standards that the state has in place. First thing to note about TSI Advising is that it is separate from major advising. So students who do have a TSI Advising hold will meet with 2 advisors at orientation. They'll meet with their TSI advisor first, and then later on they'll meet with the academic advisor for their major. For TSI Advising, this process typically occurs during the first day of orientation. We tried to build in the advising process around all the orientation events, so those that do have to do TSI Advising are not missing a ton of orientation events and information during their day. There are 2 components to this advising process. The first component is a group session where we go over the basics of TSI, kind of discuss why TSI is there, what it means to be TSI compliant, and then what they can expect when taking a TSI course. And then later on in the afternoon, we have one-on-one meetings with each student where we go over specifically what developmental coursework that student is required to enroll in. The last thing about the hold is that it will absolutely not be lifted until a student meets with the TSI advisor. So if they've turned in the TSI assessment scores, but they still haven't met those benchmark requirements, there's still going to be a hold on their account. And that hold's going to remain again until they meet with an advisor. Once they meet with the TSI advisor at orientation, we'll get the hold lifted so they can register for classes with their major advisor. Again, this process all happens during that first day of orientation. And yeah, we're just here to help make sure students can strengthen their reading, writing, and math skills and be ready to take college level coursework. And that's about it for TSI.
Hi, I'm Amanda Garcia. I'm the Associate Director at Student Health Services, and I'm here to talk to you about the immunization hold that your student will see on their account if they are 21 and younger. They will see an immunization hold placed on their account. And I'll talk to you a little bit about why that requirement's in place and how to go about removing that hold. So I'm going to share my screen here. And we are going to talk about the requirements. So Texas Senate bill requires all students entering an institution of higher education, either public and private, to either receive a vaccination against bacterial meningitis or meet certain criteria for declining such vaccines. Texas Tech University requires proof of vaccination prior to registering for classes for the first time. Extensions may be requested and will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. In every instance, a student must provide their vaccination records prior to the state mandate's deadline, which is 10 days prior to the first day of classes. We partner with MedProctor to oversee this process. And so I'm going to let you watch a quick video that will explain and walk you through MedProctor.
This law requires all students entering an institution of higher education, public and private, to either receive a vaccination against bacterial meningitis or meet certain criteria for declining such a vaccination before the first day of the semester. Like most universities, Texas Tech University requires proof of having received certain immunizations for all students who are enrolled. At Texas Tech University, all students are required to reach immunization compliance before they will be able to register for classes. Immunization compliance consists of submitting documentation of a bacterial meningitis vaccine that was received within the past 5 years of the first day of your entering semester. This applies to all new students under the age of 22. A student must provide their vaccination record prior to the state-mandated deadline of 10 days prior to the first day of class. Any of the following documentation can be submitted as proof. A document bearing the signature or stamp of either a physician, the physician's designee, or the public health official that administered the vaccination that shows the month, day, and year it was administered. A copy of an official immunization record issued by a licensed health care provider or the state or local health authority. A copy of an official record received directly from a Texas school official or a school official in another state. Texas Tech University has partnered with MedProctor to handle the collection of immunization records for our students. Please visit www.medproctor.com to begin the process and click Register for a new account. Use only your Texas Tech University email address when registering. Then click Continue. From here, you will be redirected to Texas Tech University's single sign-on page. This may take around 5 seconds. Here you will log into your MedProctor account using your Texas Tech University username and password, or your university email address and password. If you do not know your school portal credentials, you can click Forgot Password or Forgot Username. Complete your profile information by filling out your name, date of birth, requirement group, entering term, or number, and if you will be a campus resident. Then click Continue. MedProctor will ask you to review the end user agreement. You will sign your name and click Agree to acknowledge the terms of use. Once signed, click Continue. Before you can access the document section where you upload your records, you must choose between uploading with a MedProctor Pro account for $10 or uploading for free without the upgraded perks. If you want to upload for free, click the gray No Thank You button. Here is where you upload your vaccination record. Select a document type and then choose the file you wish to upload. You can only upload one file at a time. Select Continue once you have chosen your file. The Download Documents section is where you can download the optional immunization certificate. If you choose to use this form, a health professional must complete it. Once you upload files, you will be directed to the status page. This is where you can see updates regarding your immunization record review. Standard review time for uploaded documents is 1 to 3 business days. If you need something reviewed quicker, you can expedite the review of your forms for $15. Expedited forms are reviewed within an hour. If you need to upload another document, click here to submit another document, and you will be taken back to the document section. MedProctor sends notification of all communications to your Texas Tech University email address. You will access your messages through a secure portal by logging back into your MedProctor account. If you are missing something, MedProctor will communicate it by sending you a message like the one shown here. Messages like this that notify you to check your account status will be located under your Messages tab in your MedProctor account. To review your account status, go to your Status page. Any issues or missing items will be listed here. It is important to submit required vaccine documentation and receive a Verified as Compliant message in your Messages tab, or a Verified to be Complete message on your Status page. You will not be able to remain registered for your classes without submitting the required vaccine documents. We recommend that all vaccine documents be uploaded to MedProctor at least 4 weeks prior to the start of the semester to avoid any holds on your student account. Students who are enrolled in an online-only degree program are not required to meet immunization compliance. In this case, you would not need to upload anything to MedProctor. More information regarding medical exemptions, religious exemptions, or reasons of conscience exemptions can be found on Texas Tech University's website, listed here. Contact MedProctor directly for any assistance you may need, including a live chat feature to aid in completing this process. In summary, register at MedProctor with your Texas Tech email address. Complete your profile in MedProctor. Upload documentation back through MedProctor. And watch your school email and your MedProctor status page for verification, or to take the necessary steps to reach verified status. Welcome to Texas Tech University. We are happy to have you here.
Okay. So that's just an overview of how to submit your records to MedProctor. Just keep in mind that all of our student health receptionists do have access to admin rights on MedProctor, so they can troubleshoot any questions you may have. They're able to pull up what you've uploaded real time. So they're able to process those records and get that hold removed. So you can always use us as a resource, or you can use a MedProctor live chat. Keep in mind that your students, if they're going to be starting this fall, which I'm assuming most of them will be, their meningitis vaccine must be on or before August 25th of 2017. There's a list on our website of approved meningitis strands, so please be sure that you review this section right here that will go over exactly which strands that the physician or Walgreens, wherever you may choose to receive your vaccine, gives you the right strand. And there is also information on our website where you can go to file any kind of exemption if you choose to decline the vaccine, but all of our information is on our Student Health Services website under immunizations and medical clearance requirements. Thank you for your time today, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask us.
Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Natalie Mendoza. I'm one of the section supervisors here at University Student Housing at Texas Tech. And today we will just be sharing more information about the first year residency requirement at Texas Tech University. So all first year students to Texas Tech, regardless of whether you're a traditional freshman or a transfer student to Texas Tech, you are required to live on campus. So make sure that you're sharing that information with your student. We would prefer for your students to sign up for housing as soon as possible, as there's more availability right now that there will be at the end of July. So make sure that you're doing that. Now, if for any reasons your student is maybe potentially interested in living off campus, we do have a couple of exemption applications that they're eligible to apply for on our website. And our website is just housing.ttu.edu. Now, the most common reason why students would qualify to live off campus is if they have more than 30 post-high school college credit hours. So they do have to be completed after their high school graduation. We don't consider any dual credit courses or AP credits. We don't take those into account. They do have to be completed after their high school graduation. So the way that they would apply for that is straight on our website. They fill out their information with their Texas Tech E-Rater account, and then they submit a copy of their transcript. And those can be unofficial. They don't have to be official transcripts that you pay for. They can just send the unofficial copy. Now, another reason is if maybe they're over the age of 21 or another non-traditional reason. So we do recommend that students do not sign an off-campus lease until they are formally approved to live off campus, because it is a requirement until they are approved. But definitely encourage all students to live on campus. It's a great first year experience, and it really helps a student get accommodated to being at a new environment. And also students who live on campus do better academically. They have better grades in their classes. So we definitely want all of our students to live here with us. But if for any reason they are interested in living off campus, please make sure that they're applying as soon as possible so that we can start reviewing their applications. Typically, exemption applications will take between 5 to 7 business days to review, and all responses do go to the email that they sent the exemption application from. But perfect. I think right now we're going to be doing a Q&A. So I'll pass it over to Christine.
All right, I want to thank Natalie and all of our other presenters for sharing this really important information to help your student be ready to register for those classes at Red Raider Orientation. We are almost at time, but I do want to take a few minutes to answer some of your questions. So please do put those in the Q&A. Even if we aren't able to answer them live, we will type some answers for you to those questions. One question I've been seeing pop up a lot in the Q&A, and this one I'm going to direct to Zach Manning. Again, maybe people popped on a little bit late or just didn't see the information, but how exactly does a student go about knowing what holds they have?
Yeah, so there's a few different places that students can look. When they log into our registration system, which is on our website, www.orientation.ttu.edu, when they log in there on the left-hand menu, there's a page that says questionnaire. At the top of the questionnaire, they can see all of their holds. Again, one of the holds they'll see is their academic orientation hold. That's their RRO hold. And again, that won't be removed until they come to Red Raider Orientation and they've completed those modules. That's one place to look. You can also look in RaterLink. So a few different places that you can look, your students can look to see exactly what holds they have.
Thank you. Another question I'm seeing pop up throughout is, how do I contact these offices, or how can I get this information? Again, we are going to send everyone who registered for this webinar a link that will include the recording to this video, as well as all of the websites that were referenced during the video. So hang on and we will make sure that you get that information. Another question that I'm seeing is talking about, this is about testing. So this might be a question for anyone in TSI compliance, or it could be Pat with testing. But what is the difference between the placement exams and the TSI? So math placement, I think there's a chemistry placement. How is that different from the TSI math and the TSI testing?
Christine, the main difference between placement exams is that They are actually from the college, and they are assessing skills and for particular coursework within their college. TSI is a standardized exam, so in that case, it's very similar to the process of an SAT and ACT. There will be a proctor at all times. There will be identification requirements. There will be things like cell phones cannot be in the room. There'll have to be a quiet place. So there are a lot of features that go into a standardized exam, and TSI is the only exam that's going to be a compliance exam. Those others have nothing to do with TSI compliance.
And how would a student know if they needed to take the math or chemistry placement exam? Could someone answer that for
I
us?
think that might be a Zach question.
Yeah, so another resource, another valuable resource for your student is the admitted student task list. If you go to our website, www.orientation.ttu.edu, you'll see a link at the top that says admitted student task list. This is your student's personalized checklist, everything they need to do prior to enrolling at Texas Tech University. So a lot of those science and math heavy majors are going to need to take the chemistry placement exam or math placement exam. These are completely free. They're done online. But again, something to do prior to coming to Texas Tech University. When they go through the admitted student task list, let's say your student is a dance major, they're not even going to see the chemistry placement exam and math placement exam. If they're doing chemical engineering, they're going to see both of those there. So again, it is unique to your student and the number of hours they have and their major. So go through that and they can see exactly what they need to do prior to orientation.
Perfect. I'm seeing a question here. Are parents encouraged to attend RRO? The answer is absolutely yes. We want you to come to Red Raider orientation and experience it for yourself. There will be some sessions that are just for you as parents or family members. You'll attend some things with your student and some things on your own with other parents and family members. Zach, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, orientation is a great opportunity to learn a lot about Texas Tech University and see what's going on. And we know that you've been supporting your student for the last 18 years of their life. And so we want you to be able to do that as you're at home, whether that be in the Metroplex or in Corpus Christi, out of state, wherever you are, you can still support your student while they are here in Lubbock. And so we do encourage you to attend. We do have a number of students who do attend without a guest. So we completely understand if that's not something that can happen. But if available, we would love to have you on campus.
Wonderful. This is a question about housing. I've seen a question pop up. If our student is not 100% sure that they're coming to Texas Tech at this particular moment, should they still go ahead and sign up for housing? And what about the deposit piece?
Yes, so we definitely still encourage students to sign up for on-campus housing, even if you're still potentially interested in going to a different university or waiting for a financial aid package or different items like that. Our deadline, very similar to orientation, is May 1st to cancel and be eligible for a refund of the $400 deposit required to sign up for housing. So as long as they cancel on or before May 1st, they can get that $400 deposit back. Any cancellations after that, you will forfeit that deposit, but we heavily encourage our students to sign up for housing, even if they're still potentially interested in going elsewhere.
Wonderful. Well, we are about out of time for our presentation. I do want to share on the screen all the contact information from everyone who presented today, and I want to thank everyone once again for taking your time to be with us. Do keep your questions coming in the chat. We can still get those answered for you. We are going to stop the recording at this point, but we'll hang on just a little while to keep answering your questions. So thanks once again for being here, and watch for an email from us later this afternoon with the recording link and all the contact information, everything that you saw during our presentation today. Thank you.